Hey, what's up everybody? Jason from The Glitter Guy here, and today I'm going to show you how to get your molds from looking like this to this by converting this Harbor Freight pressure paint tank into a resin pressure pot in under 5 minutes for under $100. Before we get started real quick, I just wanted to mention a couple of other tutorials on doing this that helped me come up with the best setup that I liked. So the first would be Jake Thompson's video where he uses all the bells and whistles, and you can watch that here. And the next would be Sim's Knives, and he uses a much more minimalistic approach, which is a lot closer to what I ended up going with, and you can watch that one right here. So my original intended setup was a happy medium between the two, but after a couple of tweaks and fixes due to some leaky fittings and a leaky lid, it all comes together in the end. I'll have links to all the parts needed for each different setup in the description below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for future DIY and how-to videos. We're going to take this pipe off. We don't need it, and it's just taking up space. We've got a couple pieces that we need to go with this. The reason why I chose this was because it's a couple less pieces, so it's a little more affordable. You got a quarter inch elbow. You have quarter-inch quick coupler set up. And we have a quarter-inch ball valve. A couple tools. We have channel locks, adjustable wrench, box cutter so I can get the box open. We want Teflon tape on all of our threads, any of our threaded connections. The T we actually want to keep. What we want to do is we want to take the regulator off and we want to re-Teflon tape it. The T itself also I'm going to take out, and we're just going to put some fresh Teflon tape on it because I just don't trust everything from the factory. This, see, there's not even any on the threads. All right, let's get some Teflon tape on here. Same thing with the pressure relief valve. Get a fresh set of Teflon tape on this. And then this piece we do not need. We want to thread our pressure relief valve back in. Thread our T back on. All right, we're going to take our regulator. We want to remove the regulator gauge from the actual regulator system. Same thing, we're not going to use this. Some other guys do. We're going a different route. Teflon tape threads, just like everything else. We're going to thread that right in the other end of the T. All right. That good and tight. So now we're going to take this side out, this elbow, and then same thing, we're going to take this piece, we are going to separate the reducer from the male elbow. We don't need this piece either. That can go off to the side. Same thing that we did with the others. We're going to put some fresh Teflon tape on here. So let's get this stuff off. We're going to thread it right back in where she was. There we go. Now that we got that good and tight, this is where our elbow comes in. Take our elbow off. Elbow gets threaded onto the top side. Nice and easy. All right, get our ball valve. Same thing, some Teflon tape. All right, so let's get some tape on these threads here. Ball valve threaded into our elbow. Cut open our couplers. Teflon tape again. pot back. So the bottom of the pot is concave, so we're gonna put a piece of wood in there. All right, we're gonna take our piece of wood we cut, drop it in the bottom for a nice flat face. All that's left is to test. Put our lid back on. All right, so we're gonna test for leaks and get the air hooked up. We'll get dialed in. Make sure your ball valve is closed before you hook up the air. Go up to 50. All right, let's get a mold in here and see how she does. All right, so we're back. It's the next day. You might notice a couple things. Before I depressurize the pot, I had to make a couple changes to our fittings on the top. We had a couple leaks, and that was because of some of the pieces that we used that had come with it, which was specifically the T. So what I did was I actually minimized everything, and we have purely what we need, none of the extra bells and whistles. So honestly, I think that this is the better setup anyway. The only difference is maybe I'll go and get a better T later so that I can put our pressure relief valve back on. Other than that, I'm operating off of the regulator on my compressor. I have my regulator set to 60 PSI, and I'm only putting 40 PSI in our pressure pot. So she held after I made all of our changes. We're still sitting at 40. You guys can see that. And let's let the air off. So let's demold our non-pressure pot one. We hit this with the torch a couple times throughout while it was curing. You guys can see that is super cloudy and bubbly. Here is the one from our pressure pot. That is, you can see the difference there. It's like a night and day.